early years, teachers put in place crucial building blocks for understanding the symbolism of maps. Abstract symbols of the physical world are difficult for young children to understand. Teachers first emphasize what the real world, the real geography around them, looks like. Gradually, learners move toward using three-dimensional objects as symbols for real-world geography. Third graders in Pam DeVoe's class throw their whole bodies into a geography lesson given by enrichment teacher Mary Casserino. Her character, Mrs. World Traveler, uses movement and space to help the children learn the major directions and the spatial organization of the Earth.
Let's do some geo-aerobics. Okay? Equator.
Equator.
You can repeat these after me. Equator.
Equator.
North Pole.
North Pole.
South Pole.
South Pole.
Equator.
Equator.
The geo-aerobics I've done with first graders, because even though they may not understand all those terms, they're getting them in their head and they're saying, okay, they know North and South Pole, and they learn equator, and they learn some of those other terms, and then when they meet them later on, then they recognize them more easily because they've done an activity like that. And that's a great pick-me-up that kids like, and it's easy to do. It takes 2 minutes or longer if you want, but it's fun. I've done that with older children, and it's silly with older kids, but that's okay. Older kids need to be silly once in a while. It kind of takes the starch out of them.
My goodness, who's making all that racket?
It's me.
Oh, come right in.
It's me.
Come right in.
Am I in the right place?
Yeah.
Mrs. DeVoe. I'm Mrs. World Traveler.
You're Mrs. World Traveler.
Glad
Nice
to meet you.
I'm Mrs. DeVoe, and we're just having a lesson about directions.
You were?
You were right in the right place, I'm sure. Come on in and join us.
Do these people like geography?
Have to ask them.
Do you like geography?
Yeah.
Good.
Then you are in the right
Well, I'm
place.
lost.
Oh, dear.
I'm lost. I'm Mrs. World Traveler.
I like this activity,
And of course,
the
if I travel,
Mrs. World
what do
Traveler
I need?
activity, because first of all, I have fun with it. And I think if you're having fun with a lesson, you've already set the stage for kids to have fun with it. And most people would not see me as a ham, but when I'm in the classroom, I am. I think that's how you get kids going along the same path you want to take them on.
I brought some stuff with me that's important stuff for map making. And if I give each of you one of these cards that says a thing on a map, can you help make a map from that?
Miss World Traveler came in, she was kind of lost. And so we had to like kind of build a map, and she said like we had to have a map kind of like in our head.
All right, let's go around the group and let's have everybody tell us what their card says. Just tell us what your card says. Samantha, can we start with you?
Prime meridian.
Nice and loud, please.
Prime meridian.
Ready? Caitlin?
Equator. West. North. South. North Pole. Atlantic Ocean. Well, she walked around the room and gave us cards, and then we had to find where our places kind of went. So, like, we were like map makers.
And you can gear it. I mean, as you pass out those cards, you can make sure that the child who's getting the north card is a kid that's very comfortable with that, but the child who's getting the prime meridian probably has some understanding of what that is, so you don't totally frustrate them, but they're still learning from each other.
Who thinks that they have a card that would be a very important thing to start with to make a map? And some of these people, West and North, had their hands up. Why do you think we should start with you?
Because we can make the compass rose, so we know from north to south, west to east.
Excellent. What will help us next? If I know where north is, and I know where south is, and I know where west and east are, what can help me next? Caitlin, now do you think you're part of the picture? Where should you be? In the middle. In the middle which way? Go ahead and get in the middle and we'll talk about it. You're aligned?
Yeah.
So which way does the line go?
East to west.
East to west. But you said the equator is the hottest place on Earth,
So does she need something to protect her from the sun? Oh, yes, we don't want you to get sunburned. Okay. I like that lesson because kids like it. They're part of it. 2 Pacific Oceans. That's strange. Are there 2 Pacific Oceans?
No.
Oh, no but. What? Caitlin?
It's because when you flatten a map out, it's like you're flattening the world out, so the Pacific just divides, but it's still one big ocean.
But I can't show it all on one map if I have the prime meridian in the middle. So, are you in the right place, Kayla? Is Kayla correctly placed to be part of the Pacific Ocean? Yeah. She is. Good job. And where should you go? You can start with really small children and just understanding spatial analysis in relation to a room. You know, where are the tables? Where are the chairs? Where's our free play area? Where are the bookshelves? That kind of thing. Just locations of places. And you can talk about purpose of those places too. I mean, you can definitely relate it to that. But doing a lesson where kids are part of it, you've automatically increased the level, the amount of memory that they're going to have about it. Who has a card that says as far north as I can possibly go? Whose card tells us that? You do, Kyle? Okay, have a seat up there next to north, please.
What does your card say, Kyle?
North Pole.
The North Pole, farthest place north. Right, Dan.
And what is it like there? Cold. Oh, it is cold. Okay, so what is Caitlin's job as the equator? To divide north from south. And Samantha's job as prime meridian is to divide east from west.
Is sort of like a pizza in a way, because there was a cut down the middle, then there was a cut down the side. So there was 4 corners. So there's like Asia in one corner and Australia in the other and stuff like that.
I use this lesson as an assessment, either at the beginning of a grade to see what do children know, what can they recall. You can use it again later in the year as a review. What have they learned? Do they understand all those things? Do they know where places are in relation to each other? So it's an easy lesson to adapt, and it's an easy lesson to use as assessment. And they don't even know they're taking an assessment. They just think they're having fun.
I didn't know that that south was by the prime meridian sea, or the prime meridian. I thought it was just like a lake or an ocean or something, not like a line.
And obviously, they didn't know prime meridian, or they'd heard of the international date line. A couple had, but they didn't have a clue what it was, and that's okay. Now you know what to teach, and they'll be fascinated by it because you kind of triggered the interest a little bit today. And when you come back to it, they'll want to know what that's about. I think so much of what we really need to learn is how to ask the question, how to find the answer, and to be actively engaged in that. And that's critical for kids. To make this, did we need kind of a map in our head? Yeah. To know where places were going to be? Even if they didn't understand it all today, you've created the question in their mind that they'll start looking for an answer to it. I like the lesson because it teaches them or reviews one or the other spatial analysis. It gets them thinking with a mental map of the world that they're part of. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to take a minute, because I'm going to ask you these kinds of questions. So look around you and be thinking how you would answer this. If you are Europe, what oceans do you border? If you are Antarctica, what oceans do you border? If you are the Pacific Ocean, what continents do you touch? Okay, be thinking about who are your neighbors.
North America.
Excellent. And you're the rest of the Pacific, so what continents do you border as well?
Asia and Australia.
Excellent. When a child is sitting there as Europe and says, well, I border the Arctic Ocean and I border the Atlantic Ocean and Africa's south of me and Asia's east of me, you're making them be the lesson almost. They have as much ownership in what happens as you do, so that's important. Oh, you have east, all right. But spatial analysis also is important for understanding why things are located where they are. Why is a dump put where it is? Why is a school located where it is? Why are major highways located where they are? Why is Rutland the third largest city now in the state of Vermont, as compared to other places? Well, you know, what's going on here or not going on here that puts us in that position? Kids can start to analyze that in relation to the space that this place occupies. You know, that we're between two mountain chains. We're not on a major highway system. We have all of these elements that are part of our spatial place, or our place, and understanding how those pieces relate to each other. Geography's relationships, I guess. That's really it. Well, you guys were a big help, so now I can start traveling again. We teach the 5 themes of geography, you know, Mr. Help, and they remember that. Mr. Help stands for movement. R stands for regions. The HE stands for human environment interaction. The L for location, and the P for place. And all of geography can be taught with those 5 themes, or related to those 5 themes. Today was location and place. I think there are basic skills that kids learn through social studies, and it's not just directionality. It's the cultures and acceptance of other people. It's an awareness of other people. I think geography is such an important subject for kids because it's just the underlying piece that helps us understand the world we live in. The lesson today was just a beginning of kids just seeing themselves in a specific spot. If you're Africa or Asia or the Pacific Ocean, where are you in relation to places around you? And it starts that simply. When you do a lesson like that, you've got them right there. You know, that's fascinating to them. That's the world they live in. They want to know more about it. You can start with the big part. Here's the universe, and work it back to me in that universe. That's a huge reason. Kind of a back and forth thing. It's really cool. Just keep teaching it. Don't put it on the sideline. Geography, so often people feel that that's the thing they get to when they have a few minutes to spare. It can't be done that way because, first of all, it's too haphazard, and secondly, you're missing a topic that kids automatically will engage in. That most children, that's the hook, not the end of the line. It's the thing that gets them started. And if you really think about geography or history or any social studies area as the place that you can integrate the other disciplines, then you always can have time for it.
Through activities like the one shown here, children gradually understand the symbolism and spatial nature of geography. With lots of work on these concepts over the elementary years, children will eventually be able to connect human societies and cultures to their geographical environment.